My name is Erin Aladdin, and I'd like to tell you the story of Garden at Kimbourne, where it came from, what we've done so far, and what we're dreaming of for the future. When I first moved to Toronto, I found living here pretty rough. There was too much glass and concrete, not enough trees. At the park near my apartment, a city worker would actually come along and vacuum up every leaf that fell on the grass. There was nowhere I could go to escape from people, and the poverty and hunger I could see around me was overwhelming. I tried volunteering for a couple of different causes, but none of them was a good fit. I felt helpless and sad and trapped in a world where I couldn't make anything better. Then one day in the winter of 2014, I finally thought, maybe I can just pick one little corner to help. I don't know how to solve the world's problems, but I do know how to plant a garden. My local church had a big lawn space that wasn't being formally used. People walked their dogs there or played catch with their kids, but most of the time it was pretty empty. With their permission, I got a committee together, had a big neighborhood meeting, and found a bunch of people who wanted to grow something beautiful together. I'll spare you all the fancy language of our mission statement, but here are the main things we decided to do. Number 1. Grow food and pollinator-friendly plants using permaculture principles. A short and incomplete explanation of the complex and evolving idea that is permaculture is that it's a set of design principles that help you to create a food-producing ecosystem of which humans are an integrated part. We're not standing on the outside taking out nutrients and adding in fertilizer. So that's why you'll see plants all mixed together here instead of growing in neat rows. We have strawberries as ground cover under the squash. We have asparagus fronds shading some greens from the sun. There are herbs discouraging pests around the tomatoes. One of our priorities is growing healthy soil. We add lots of organic matter, we till it as little as possible, and we plant as many perennials as we can. That lets all of the little microbes and other creatures of the soil set up a thriving civilization, complete with structures that let air and water flow easily through it. When we started, our soil was so compact we could hardly dig a foot down. So we didn't dig. We laid down cardboard and leaves and compost right on top of the soil, and we grew in that. Now, in that area, we have beautiful, deep, rich soil. It's amazing how easy it is. We also have a vermicomposter, which is a really fun way of getting the most beautiful, rich fertilizer you'll ever see. Number 2. Share half of the food we grow among the people who work in the garden and half with a local food bank. In 2016, we grew 70 kilograms of food, and we actually donated 2/3 of it to the Glen Roads Food Bank. The last time I asked for statistics, Glen Roads was serving 100 families a week, and since then, the grocery store in that neighborhood has shut down, so the need is even greater. Back when I was pining for life in the country, I never realized how important and rewarding it is to increase food security in the middle of the city. Number 3. Spread free education about food and about sustainability. We don't charge people to be members of Garden at Kimbourne. We just ask them to put in about 2 hours of labor each week. We also don't charge for the workshops we run on subjects like seed starting, seed saving, soil health, composting, and native healing plants. Sometimes we organize big workdays where members of the neighborhood can come help us with a particular project without committing to being a member. This year, we invited half a dozen organizations from the neighborhood to come and exhibit in an environmental fair while we had people helping with a rain barrel painting activity. And it's not just our more casual members who benefit. Several members of the committee have gone on to use their experience at Garden at Kimbourne to land full-time jobs. And in 2017, we received funding from the federal government to hire a summer student. She was able to use her experience at Garden at Kimbourne to help shape the direction of her degree. And it worked both ways, because she used her interest in urban green spaces that she'd already developed at university to plan and set up most of this crowdfunding campaign. Hi, Lucy! Good work. So, if we're already doing all this cool stuff, why do we want your money? Well, remember I said this property used to be used mostly for dog walking and playing with kids? We didn't want to mess with that, so we only used half of the property to plant the garden. The rest is still lawn space. And because outdoor recreation is so important for mental and physical health, we want to make it even better for people who use the property that way. With $4,500, here's what we can do. For fun and exercise that won't end with balls in the garden or on the road, we're going to set up a tetherball here. Since we currently don't have anywhere for people to sit in the lawn area, we'll build some round earth benches under the maple trees. With them will be a little free library with one shelf for books and one for seeds. To foster more community communication and to help us let people know what's going on with the garden, we'll build an outdoor bulletin board down near the sidewalk. That's one of my favorite elements because you can do so much with good communication. Also along the communication line, we'll create some more permanent signage in the garden so that visitors can find out who we are and also learn some of the science going on in the garden. Around the outer edge of the property, there's a row of trees. Some of them are beautiful old trees that sequester a lot of carbon. Some of them are mulberries that give us a crop every summer. But a lot of them are what my forester dad calls weed trees. They aren't doing much good for anybody, and they're shading out the plants we do want to grow. We've had an arborist come take a look, and if we reach our fundraising target, we'll be able to have the weed trees removed and some of the others pruned where they need it. Then we'll start establishing a mini food forest. We'll carefully choose native trees, shrubs, herbs, ground covers, roots, and vines that will work together to create a productive, self-sustaining, food-producing ecosystem. It will maintain the privacy screen we have between this property and the neighbors. It will create habitat for birds and insects that will help control pests. It'll increase biodiversity, it'll help soil health, and I'm just really excited about it. So that's the dream. We've already taken an empty lawn and turned it into a garden. Now, with your help, we can take that garden and make it into a space where humans and the earth can both be revitalized and renewed. We tend to look at the problems in our world and think they're just so massive they're completely untouchable by normal people, but solutions can actually be really simple. At Garden at Kimbourne, we're feeding hungry people, sequestering carbon, reducing flood risk, increasing biodiversity, spreading education, and creating community. And we did all that by planting a garden.